So what is akhlaq? Akhlaq is that part in you when you're deciding that I'm responsible for my akhlaq. I am going to consciously make sure that my character, the way I go about my relationships, the way people see me is actually my choice. I'm not going to do things or be a person that society created or culture or my parents sometimes tried to make out of me. I'm going to be conscious. And for us Muslims to be conscious in creating our akhlaq means that we are aligning ourselves to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ from beginning to an end. I want to show you something. I want to show you how they used to understand akhlaq in early days. I mean an early psychologist or indigenous psychologist at that time, they had nothing more in hands but Hellenistic, Greek especially, philosophies. And what it meant for them is that they sort of relied on tree of virtue and vice, and that's the title of this session, virtue and vice, right? So virtue and vice, if you have a look at that tree, you realize that it is quite easy to understand because it had it had its pillars, it has its branches in certain aspects of personality and character, which is courage, wisdom, justice, and abstinence. So courage is called siyaja in Arabic, wisdom hikmah, justice adl, and abstinence ifah. And that's how they used to understand building character. That's what they used to use to measure themselves against. So courage for them referred to fortitude, meaning self-accountability, strength, resilience, those kind of skills when you can control your anxieties and anger and anything that holds you back, and you are ready to stand up for yourself. Okay, so siyaja meant that you are balanced, so you're not going to any of the excesses and any of the deficiencies. Now, that is interesting, what I said, and quite important, because another law in Islamic healing is all about mizan, all about balance. And how do you want to balance yourself based on your endeavors to walk through akhl is to see courage and other attributes from the perspective of being trapped in between of excesses. So if you are closer to being rushed, so you're overwhelmed by anxieties or anger, or if you are closer to cowardness, meaning you are holding back, you know that you have a job to do. You sort of need to balance that. And siyaja is something that helps in therapeutic way to not only show up in relationships, but also if you have courage to own your own faults, you have courage to work on yourself. So it is really, really important to consider that, and it was really important at that times to consider that in working on your courage, especially nowadays when Muslims have really hard going, and it's hard and unpopular to stand by what you believe in. Another virtue is wisdom, and Greek describes this as a knowledge or seeking knowledge and reliance on akhl, but also divine inspiration. So it's equally spread. That's why we are actually talking about hikmah. So the wisdom is about not only your intelligence, but also how you're tapping into this inner knowing and how you interacting with divine guidance. And again, the trap between vice and virtue on the level of hikmah means that you can go into extremes like wickedness and deficiency like a stupidity, right? Another aspect to consider other than courage and other than wisdom is also abstinence. Okay. And it's called Haya in Arabic, but it means self-control. Some Sufi went into Zuhud, asceticism, meaning moderation of your life, minimalization kind of approach to your life. And as you can gather from what you're seeing on the screen, you are trapped between self-indulgence and insensibility. So you really want to sit down with yourself and see if you are actually balanced on the level of ifa. Can you hold back from your desires of, I don't know, physical desires or entertainment desires? Can you actually, hold back? Yeah. And align yourself with Mizan, which is balance kind of approach to life. So what I haven't mentioned is justice, adult, because justice is justice. There's no virtue, there's no vice, and it's actually the highest of the all virtues. And how it works on the level of spiritual growth, not only Akhlak, is that we are going to be driven. They are like self-motivatory aspects of ourselves, so we're going to be driven by one on another. It is installed in us. This is how we've been created. So not all of us are going to find it easy to balance those aspects. And some of us, they're going to run through life seeking justice and reacting to injustice. Some of us, they're going to show up as really strong, influential personas because the courage in them is driving them. Some of us, they're just going to come across as a really wise people, and they probably, you can find them in mosques, in academical or spiritual circles. And then there are going to be people who are just living simple life, down to earth life, because they're driven by abstinence. They're not driven by greed. And there's so much to learn from all of those people. I hope that is useful. I'm going to see you next video. Don't forget to sign to my YouTube channel, AJS Therapy. And I hope